What is that?
It's a miniature wedding dress. I'm going to put it on my Barbie.
You're 13 years old and you still play with Barbie dolls? That doesn't look like a dress. It looks like tissue paper arranged in a strange way. Now, students, this is no way to speak to Evelyn during our sewing class. Your dress is very beautiful, dear. In fact, I think it's magical. Now, don't you worry about what the others are saying. You are talented.
She shot the other students a mean look, then continued smiling at me, but it was unfortunate that she couldn't come to my rescue after school because at that time, more of my classmates followed me and asked me to show the dress to them so they could laugh. I was so upset that when I got home, I threw it in the bushes in my garden and marched up to my room. This dress would eventually change my life, and if you want to find out how, you have to keep watching.
What's wrong, darling?
Nothing, I said and slammed the door in my mom's face. I regretted that, of course, because she was upset with me for the rest of the day. It really wasn't my day. A few months passed and I stopped being creative at school because I didn't want to be teased. Things were going smoothly and people started to treat me like I was a normal kid. Then one Saturday, I spent the entire day inside watching TV, and my dad told me to go outside.
For some sunshine and fresh air. You can't spend your life indoors when we have such perfect weather here.
Ugh, fine, Dad. I went outside and walked around the garden. Then I noticed a cute squirrel with something in its mouth. Hey, buddy, what you got there? It dropped the thing and ran up a tree. I picked the thing up and gasped. It was my miniature wedding dress. Surprisingly, it still looked the same way it did when I threw it into the bushes. What was that squirrel doing with it? I looked at it and smiled. It really wasn't bad at all. My classmates were probably just being mean for no reason. I took the dress inside and put it on my dressing table. Then I went back to watch TV. When I went back to my room to get ready for bed that night, I looked at my dressing table and screamed. My doll was standing on it, wearing the dress. My mom ran to my room to see what was wrong. Mom, did you put the dress on the doll?
No, wow, that's a pretty dress. Did you make it?
Yes.
It's lovely. Well, don't worry. Maybe your little brother just decided to play a prank. Or maybe he likes dolls now. Who knows?
She rolled her eyes and left the room. Later I asked him, but he insisted that he had nothing to do with it. I thought he was still lying. I tried not to think about it too much until the next day. When I woke up, it was the first thing I saw, and I went over to pick it up. I turned the doll round and round and thought that the dress looked quite pretty. Then I noticed something strange. A little piece of paper was sticking out from the bottom. I pulled it out and realized that it was a note. I opened it, and it read, "This is a magical wedding dress. Write the name of the person you want to marry and stick it on me." Could my brother be playing another prank? But he couldn't write that well yet. I decided to give it a shot anyway. I wrote Chad's name and stuck it on the dress, then I hid the doll under my bed. The next day, I went to school and forgot about everything that happened the day before. In the middle of Spanish class, our teacher walked out of the class to go to the bathroom, and Chad walked up to me looking a bit nervous.
Would you have lunch with me today?
Okay. The other girls in my class looked confused. Chad was the cutest guy at our school, and he only hung out with the really popular kids. Anyway, lunch was awesome, and Chad asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes, of course, even though we hadn't taken much time to get to know each other. But we were 13, and that's how things work when you're that age. It only hit me while I was walking home from school that afternoon. Oh my gosh, the dress! It really works. So, long story short, Chad and I stayed together until our 3rd year in high school. He was head over heels for me, but eventually I got bored with him, and I wanted a new adventure. I had my eyes on the lab technician at school. Yeah, I knew he was a bit older than I was. He'd just left college that year, but I decided it was worth a try. I wrote his name under my magic wedding dress and waited to see what would happen. I wondered whether I had just been hallucinating as a child, or if I got lucky or something. But if I could make this gorgeous guy fall for me, it meant that my dress was definitely magical. Would you believe that not even 5 minutes passed when I noticed that someone new added me on Snapchat?
Hey, beautiful. I know you from school, but I'm not a student. I just wanted you to know that I think you're the most amazing human being I've ever encountered in my life.
I replied instantly, and I felt amazing. I didn't have to do any work to make anyone fall for me. After a few weeks of avoiding him but using his obsession to feel better about myself, I decided to try to date the school heartbreaker. His name was Michael, and next to the lab tech, he was the second most gorgeous guy at our school. But he was around my age, so I guess that was safer, right? Michael was a womanizing jerk, though, and because he knew he could get any girl he wanted, he'd date someone for a while, then move on to the next. I wanted to teach him a lesson and maybe break his heart too. So I wrote his name under my wedding dress and waited. At school the next day, Michael came up to me at lunchtime.
Evelyn, will you marry me?
What? I nearly choked on my sandwich.
Oops, that's not what I meant to say. Would you like to go out with me this Saturday?
I'm sort of busy, but ask me again next week, okay? He walked away looking defeated. It felt so good. After I was done torturing him, I did go out with him for a few months, and everyone was shocked that he was so faithful. He didn't make moves on any other girls, and all he could talk about was me.
Hey, I was thinking maybe we could apply to the same colleges so we wouldn't have to be apart from each other.
He said to me one day. That made me cringe a bit. Michael, I don't think this is working out, and I don't think I want to go to college.
What?
So there, I did it. I broke his heart. You're probably wondering why I said I didn't want to go to college. Well, if I had the power to marry anyone I wanted, I figured I could just get some celebrity to marry me, and I wouldn't have to do anything. Just sit around a mansion all day, bossing the servants around. Sounds great, huh? My parents didn't accept the news that easily, though.
Not going to college? So what are you going to do for the rest of your life?
Oh, you'll see. They were upset with me, but I didn't care. I had work to do. Which celebrity would I choose? I spent nights just Googling cute guys and trying to decide which one I'd be most compatible with. I settled on the hottest rapper in existence. And I won't mention his name, for privacy reasons, of course. I wrote his name under the dress, added him on Instagram, and started sending him messages, but I got no reply. After a few days, I was about to throw a fit, because what if the magic had worn off? I really didn't want to go to college. I was in my room, about to start crying, when I heard a scream downstairs. I ran down to see what was wrong. The door was open and my mom was pointing at someone outside. I walked closer, and my jaw dropped. It was him.
Hey, darling. I realized you sent me a few messages, but I wanted to reply to them in person. Would you like to go out with me tonight? I booked a fancy restaurant in Italy.
Italy? But how will we get there?
I have a private jet, unless you don't want to go. We could do something else. I just want to get to know you better, baby.
My parents were speechless and my little brother looked like he was going to faint. I could barely contain my excitement, but I had to pretend that I was calm for the sake of my new future husband. In case you're wondering what it's like dating a celebrity, it's amazing at first. You get to go to all kinds of expensive places, they buy you lots of stuff, you get to meet other famous people, and you don't have to do much work. I was really enjoying it at first, but then I became sad because he didn't pay much attention to me. It wasn't because he wasn't obsessed with me, it's just that he was always so busy. A few years passed and we did get married because, like I told you, there was no way I was going to college. Michael and the lab tech were heartbroken when they heard about our marriage because apparently writing a new guy's name under the dress didn't stop the previous ones from obsessing over me. But I was still sad because my husband had no time for me. And as time went by, I developed a crush on Stanley, his assistant. Stanley was always cracking jokes and asking me if I was okay. I couldn't stop thinking about him because he really made me happy. And one day, as I was about to write his name under the dress, I decided that I wanted him to fall in love with me naturally. I kept sending him little hints, and then eventually we had a conversation about it.
But you're married to my boss, Evelyn. Yes, I do have feelings for you, but think about how complicated that would be.
I have an idea. I told my husband that I needed help to start a fashion business in another state. He was very supportive and gave me all the money I needed to start. I had lots of customers too, because I was a celebrity's wife. Stanley quit his job and came to live with me. We are together now, and my husband has no idea. Whenever he comes to visit, I just ask Stanley to go somewhere or hide or whatever. So things did work out for me anyway. I'm rich and I'm with the love of my life. And it doesn't have to be like this forever, because if I decided I wanted to marry into the royal family tomorrow, I could. Isn't that cool? Not controlling at all.